Hey everybody, before we start the show, I wanted to let you know that we've got 2 live shows coming up in October. First up, Thursday, October 3rd at Maya Cinemas, we're doing Joker, Folie, Deux with comedian Jason Harris, filmmaker Joe Black, and actress Tyler Tutt. And then on Saturday, October 12th at Downtown Cinemas, we're doing Terrifier 3 with filmmaker Michael Keane, actress Tia Bean, and film buff William Patrick Coleman. Going to be 2 great shows, a month long of lots of horror to talk about, and you can enter to win tickets right now at piecingpod.com. All right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are live from Maya Cinemas, where we just did a podcast on Joker, Folie, Deux on opening night. Joining me for the episode, we have Joe Black, Jason Harris, and Tyler Tutt. We get into a lot of great stuff on this episode. It was a really fun one. Great crowd, lots of audience participation. That is coming up here in a second. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on social media at PiecingPod. And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Also, I want to let you know we will be back at Downtown Cinemas this coming Saturday, October 12th, for another killer clown. It's Terrifier 3. We will be doing a show. Again, it's Saturday, October 12th. It's 6 p.m. Downtown Cinemas with Michael Keane, Tia Bean, and William Patrick Coleman. 2 shows back-to-back on killer clowns. What a crazy month. So I hope to see you guys there. And well, I guess at the time you're listening to this, the Enter to Win contest is over with, but you could buy your tickets now. Check out piecingpod.com for all the details. And let's get into our conversation on Joker, Folie, Deux. So this is the Piecing It Together podcast. I'm your host, David Rosen. We are going to talk about the movie we just watched, Joker, Folie, Deux. I'm going to keep butchering that throughout the whole show. But before we get to the movie, I want to introduce my panel here. First up, returning to the show, Joe Black. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Black. I've been on this show quite a bit. My first episode was a Lady Gaga episode. It was A Star is Born.
Yeah, that's when I first met Joe way back in the day. And also, as we're going through our panel here, just to kind of set the tone here, because Joker itself is such a polarizing movie, the first one, I kind of want to get everybody's just where they were at going into this movie. Did you like the first Joker?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I hated that movie. And I was actually telling your wife that there was a weird moment when I saw it in the theater on opening night. I was sitting next to, there was this kid, I think he was maybe 8 years old at the oldest. And the next
Gary
to him,
Puddles?
Well, yeah. Then next to him, who I assume was like his dad, he was, his guardian of some kind, when they shot Robert De Niro in the head, the dad
Spoilers.
The dad started cheering.
Yeah.
And I watched the little boy, this little 8-year-old boy, go like, yeah, like he started cheering too, and I was like, oh fuck, like no, like that's not cool, man, like that's and I was just talking with your wife about all this, about like, yeah, I think that movie's just as phony as this one, and I like this one marginally more, but that's only because it has Lady Gaga in it. So
there you go. All right,
yeah.
Tyler Tutt, right there, first time on the show. Thank you so much for being here. Introduce yourself and tell us also how you felt about the first Joker.
Okay, hi, I'm Tyler. This is my first time on the show, like you said. I'm an actor and technician. So I actually did like the first movie. I like that it showed a different side, like the social and political side of why Gotham City was like the way it was.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. But
Right on. Jason Harris returning to the show.
Hi.
How's it going, Jason?
I'm doing well.
Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Jason Harris. I get all of my opinions from Sunny. Whatever she says, I just agree with, and then I just go. I do things. I don't know. I
Lots of
podcast
stuff.
with you a lot.
Yeah.
Co-host Austin Movie. I'm a writer, actor, director type comedian.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a stand-up comedian, maybe we can get some special thoughts on Arthur Fleck here, but you know.
I've never finished a joke by stabbing anyone,
Okay,
so
yeah.
but maybe that's the way. Mikey's been to some shows where I've almost been stabbed though, so it's the same, it's a little different. As far as the first one, I rewatched it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when I saw it, and I liked it again because it, like we were saying, we were all talking up there. It had a point of view. This one had no point of view at all. So
Its
Yeah.
point of view was to keep you down. They inspired too much in people last time. They're like, actually, you're just pathetic nothing. Like, so don't even get any bright ideas. Like, fuck you. Like, that's the perspective of this movie.
I kind of agree with that, and I definitely agree with both of you guys, your positives on the first Joker, because I really loved the first Joker. I think that this movie, I didn't dislike it. I did like it. I think it more than had a purpose for existing, whereas I was really worried doing a sequel to Joker would just be like, what are we doing? Why is this a thing? But I do agree though that like the point of it all just seems to be just bleh.
I think a lot of people were watching and used your exact quote. What are we doing? Why is this a thing?
Yeah.
When that was playing tonight.
Yeah.
So
I think they were also thinking what Arthur was saying. Stop singing. I don't want to sing anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's a line in the movie. Like use your words. I don't want to sing
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, and there's nothing inherently wrong. This will come up later, like in making this a musical. Like I loved that idea from the get-go. But if you're gonna make it a musical, make it a musical. Go all the way in.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Just a total half step. So speaking of which, I was gonna kick this off because obviously Martin Scorsese was a huge influence on the first movie with The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. I was going to kick this off with New York, New York, a movie that we covered on Awesome Movie Year, Jason's podcast, a Scorsese musical. But because this didn't go far enough in musical, I decided I'm not going to go there. Instead, I'm going to go Natural Born Killers, which I think is like a really on the nose first one to kick this off with. And we like to talk about movies through the lens, for anyone who hasn't been to one of these shows before, through the lens of what movies might have inspired it. And I think that central relationship of these two people who are just egging on the worst in each other, basically, I think that is exactly this relationship here. And of course, it's something that has existed in the comics. Anyone who listens to Piecing It Together knows I don't read comics at all, so I only know from these movies. But you don't have to know that stuff to know from this movie that's what Harley Quinn is. She's just pushing Joker in the worst possible direction. And so I think also their obsession with media and the news and using that to their advantage and all that stuff, I think that all kind of fits in with Natural Born Killers as a kickoff piece here. Any thoughts from you guys on Natural Born Killers in this?
I think we all would have preferred the Quentin Tarantino version as opposed to the Oliver Stone version.
Yeah, sure. I just think Natural Born Killers, the first thing my mind goes to is when he orders the key lime pie at the beginning. And it's this weird like Jello thing. I'm like, that's not key lime pie.
Yeah.
So the movie loses me right away. Yeah.
It's a plot hole,
Instantly.
sort of. Yeah.
Well, but to what you're saying about Harley Quinn, though, they kind of flipped the script on this because usually he's the one who corrupts her. Mm-hmm. And now she's the one who corrupts him.
Doesn't he push her in acid or
She
something?
didn't. Wait a second. She didn't corrupt him. He murdered 6 people in the last
meaning
movie.
like she's the one who's like, no, you're this thing. You're this thing. I'm going to inspire you to be this thing.
Yeah.
I want.
He had pretty much given up on the whole Joker thing at the beginning of the movie and was like kind of bringing it back, but then no. So yeah, he kind of half-stepped his way there. But yeah, I don't know. Joe, let's go to another piece.
Well, I was thinking of another 70s musical, actually, that this one more reminded me of than New York, New York. Pennies from Heaven.
Okay.
Steve Martin and Jessica Harper, Bernadette Peters. What's his name? Christopher Walken is in it.
Right.
It was like Steve Martin's follow-up to like his big comedy, hits and his comedy shows. And he did this like really dark, mean-spirited, bitter drama about toxic relationships that used the pastiche of like Cole Porter music and stuff like that to kind of make a commentary about Depression era to now. That one, what was interesting in that one though, that does go full musical,
right?
But one of the things they did in that was the actors didn't sing; they just like lip synced to like the original Cole Porter tune and stuff like that. And that was really satisfying. And that one also, they did full blown musical numbers, and so you got Christopher Walken up there in 1979,
81.
like 81.
Okay.
Yeah, doing his dancing and actually like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like super dope. This one, I think the first Joker had more dancing in it than this one does. And yeah, that one just landed a lot harder for me, Pennies from Heaven. And I felt like they were trying to do the same thing. They're trying to subvert your expectation of what a musical and what a Joker movie and all that would be. But really, he just kind of came across as like freshman year of film school. Like he Todd Phillips, I mean, he seems to think everything is really important. That's why he drags everything in this movie out.
Yeah, I mean, this could have easily cut 30 minutes
Oh,
for
yeah.
the runtime, like
Yeah.
easily. But
And there's so much you could do with that premise too, of like the Joker going on trial and then ending up representing himself, and then like Harley Quinn trying to inspire the media to start the revolution to get him out of there. That could have been a dope movie.
there's a lot in this that I loved. I just think it was just drawn out
Yeah.
too much. And like I said, the musical numbers weren't enough. They just didn't go far enough into it. But it is interesting for a piece like that, Pennies from Heaven, that, like someone who's just had so much success. And Joker is just inexplicably huge. $1 billion on a movie that nobody expected much out of.
Oscars.
Yeah, Oscars for, that's just crazy. And to follow it up with something like this that does just kind of flip the script in that way, I think that's a great one to go with. So, Tyler, let's go to one from you.
Okay, so the first movie that I thought of was Fight Club, like the corruption, like just breaking down everything, and also the toxic love and her really being into him, even though he's very crazy and out of it.
Absolutely, and it's funny bringing that up because, like with the first movie, there was the whole like kind of media thing about, is this movie going to inspire violence, at movie theaters and stuff like that, and it got super blown out of proportion and all that. I think this movie is kind of commenting on that, and like with Project Mayhem, the whole Tyler Durden thing in Fight Club, kind of making that a reality. Like, what if Joker did inspire a whole bunch of lunatics to do some stuff, and that's exactly where they go here.
Yeah, exactly. And then also the split personalities, like in Fight Club, Tyler Durden had like the split personalities blacking out, and that's what Joker was trying to say it was happening to him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Fight Club too. Like, what's funny is like it's one of those things. Like, did the people that it was about, that it was making a commentary on, they seemed to like it just as much, if not more, than everyone else. The movie itself, and I actually think the Joker. Again, I was talking with Gina about this. I think that when I saw it, I was like, this isn't going to inspire violence. It doesn't inspire you to do anything. What it does is it validates your resentment. Like, it justifies the fact that you feel like victimized or you feel hopeless. Like, it validated that. That's what I took from that movie. And again, I saw the first movie as being like sneakily oppressive in that way.
Well, and I think that is why it connected with so many
Sure,
people at the time. Because I mean,
absolutely
look at the moment that we've been in these last 5-6 years or whatever. But Jason, let's go to a piece over there.
So I'm going to go to a different musical from 1980 that we just talked about on the letterbox where you could find me at Go for Jason. It's Francis Ford Coppola's One from the Heart. So when the real thing that set me off there for that, there were two reasons. One, the scene where Gaga and Joker are dancing, and then it becomes like a kind of like a pastiche of a totally different scene, is very One from the Heart, where they're living in a world, but it's it's a fantastical artificial world, the way it's set up. And that movie, I don't love it, but it looks amazing. But the other thing that you guys were pointing out was it's two characters who clearly bring out the worst in each other,
Right.
and aren't really justified being together, who end up, spoiler alert, end up together. At least here they didn't. But that kind of motivation and picking at each other, something like that, or Revolutionary Road, where the type of relationship, that's kind of what I took from that. So the look and also the emotional crux.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the big strengths of this movie is it looks amazing. And I mean, at $200 million, it should look amazing. But I thought so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask Jason, actually, because like you talked about how One from the Heart, it's so beautiful to look at. Like, this movie, I don't know, man. Like, I remember when like I was in film school and like kids were figuring out what color grading was for the first time, and they're like, make it all look like boogers. And like, that's this movie to me.
Well, I mean, I thought it looked fine, but I do agree with what you're saying, that there were a lot of shots in there that were just like, hey, look at me, I can show off, that didn't have any meaning towards it.
Yeah.
It's very show-offy, yeah.
Did you watched the new cut of One from the Heart, right?
Yeah, the reprise. It's on Criterion.
I wonder what you'll think of the original cut.
I don't plan on watching
That
it.
no, that's really fair actually.
Yeah.
But the original cut actually makes a little more sense as to why it's
They
better
end up
for the world that they're together.
Yeah.
If not them. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not great. But
Well, I'm going to go with a piece, another musical that was inspired probably by both of the musicals we brought up so far, and that's La La Land from Damien Chazelle. As far as these just fantastical numbers that are just so clearly inspired by all of the musicals that came before, and just wearing that influence on its sleeve. Again, to bring up the first Joker and its clear Scorsese influence, I think La La Land is a movie that it's just not even trying to hide that it's just doing that over again. And it's about two people who are just so driven by the idea of success and the idea of fame, and that they are pushing each other towards that. And here with Joker and Harley Quinn, it's more towards an infamy, but a similar drive, though.
Yeah, and a lot of the shots too, like when they were dancing in front of the moon, it was like very La La Land-esque. And then
Yeah.
she was wearing like a white, like Marilyn Monroe, like old Hollywood type like dress as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
that
Joe,
movie also doesn't commit to being a musical. I remember seeing that in the theater, and after the first like half hour, the music goes away until the very end, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
I think it's kind of better for it, though, honestly. Like, I'm a fan of that movie. I know it's kind of pretty polarizing, just like the Joker movie
Well,
was.
the issue with this one is I didn't feel like most of the music was motivated, right? And that's the biggest thing about a musical is like, oh, we're feeling such an emotion that we can't even talk anymore, so we're going to elevate, we're heightened to singing. Here it was just like, hey, song. You know, it just didn't...
It was funny. Just recently, Lady Gaga, she was kind of criticized for an interview where she was like, "It's not a musical. Just sometimes people express what they want to say through song." And it's like, that's a fucking musical. But they don't do that in this, really.
now you see what she was talking about. She's like, they didn't let me sing. I had to like kind of mumble my songs, otherwise, the Joker audience would hate it.
I was almost excited because at one song she did like oh, and I thought she was gonna sing "Shallows" from *Star Is Born*, and I thought that would have been like an amazing like meta thing to do.
Hell yeah, that would have rocked.
We actually
Absolutely.
didn't mind this because like I watch a lot of musicals and sometimes they do get overwhelming, like full musical number, full dance, like live band. Like this was very subtle. I think like maybe they wanted to appeal to more people who don't like all the glamour and production of it.
Yeah, I mean, we could have like a whole separate podcast on the fact that they're hiding the fact that movies are musicals now. Like they're not even saying Wicked is a musical in the trailers.
They're
Like,
not Mean Girls the musical. They hit it in that. And,
Yeah.
Dear Evan Hansen, they hit
Yeah.
it. That was a musical too.
Yeah, it's
There's
a weird
one
time.
musical number in this, and they cut it off halfway through. The Nina Simone, You Don't Know What It's Like. Like that's the only scene in this that feels like an actual musical number where Joaquin is singing at full blast, she's singing at full blast, and then halfway through he's like, no, you're not.
I thought that We're Gonna Build a Mountain one was the most relevant to classical
I like that one.
musicals.
Yeah.
And, kind of heightening not just the piece, but also within the scene, like they kept elevating.
The Joker's Me too is good. Like that if that had been in a better movie, like when he does the Joker's Me and he's killing the people, like
Sure.
pulling the usual suspects on him and stuff, that would have been dope too. But that's it. I don't know.
Joe, let's go to another piece.
One of the other podcasts that we did early on together, Glass.
Oh, okay.
This actually reminds me a lot of Glass. How like Glass was about, it's kind of like the flip of Glass, where Glass was all about taking these people and convincing them that they're not the superhero or the supervillain in this, and it's all in the insane asylum.
And Glass was the third in M. Night Shyamalan's trilogy. First Unbreakable, and then Split, and then Glass.
And then this is the flip of that, where it's like they're trying to convince them, no, you are the Joker. Like trust, but also the fact that it's set almost entirely in the insane asylum, just like Glass, and that it's a total subversion of where you think that franchise is going to go.
Sure.
And they kill, spoilers for Glass, which is my favorite of that trilogy. I acknowledge that the other two are better movies, but I like what Glass is doing more. But the way that they kill Bruce Willis in that is so unceremonious. He literally drowns in a puddle of muddy water. Like somebody just drowns him in a little puddle.
It's a horrible moment.
Yeah, it's well, but in this one they're trying to do the same thing. Like it's Todd Phillips gotcha moment, and it's like you never had me. So
Yeah.
See.
Interesting.
But yeah, Glass.
Yeah, no, great piece. You're absolutely right. That it's kind of the flip of what they were trying to do with that movie. So yeah, good one to include here. Tyler, let's go to another one.
Okay, so this is a bit of a newer movie. It's Love Lies Bleeding. So
Okay.
it's about these people who work in a gym, and basically during the movie, she's enabling her girlfriend to do steroids. And so, like, it's kind of the same as Harley Quinn and Joker. She's, like, enabling him to be worse, but she likes the way he's being when she's enabling him this way, even though it's a lot worse for his health.
Yeah, absolutely. That is first of all, it's a great movie. It just came out like 4 months ago or something like that. But as far as movies about people enabling the worst in each other, it's absolutely a great companion piece to this. And I feel like there's been other movies that could probably go on that list from this year, because I feel like it's kind of maybe just a thing right now where people are exploring that idea of movies, of stories of people being their worst companions.
Do you think that maybe it's like an exploitation of that though? Kind of like how like in the '90s we had rom-coms, you know what I mean? And then like suddenly every like idiot was making a rom-com, and it just diluted the whole market, and then the genre died. Do you think that like that the kind of like socio-political angle like has reached that now in movies, where that became the new trend, and now the dummies are making them?
I think where we're getting to with that is the genre of inviting someone over to your cabin or house and then terrorizing them. Every week there's a different version of either they're terrorizing us or we're terrorizing them, and I think we got
starring rom-com legend Hugh Grant coming out here.
There is
Yeah,
another
like,
one.
yeah,
Oh yeah, live show coming up at Downtown Cinemas, Heretic. But yes, absolutely. Jason, let's go to one.
Dave, you mentioned Scorsese. The Scorsese movie that this like just kind of wafted over me was Shutter Island, which I think I need to rewatch. But the prison stuff and the Fever Dream stuff were both very Shutter Island-y, and also kind of, even in a way, the relationship between the guard and Arthur, kind of where they're giving him a little leniency because of how sensational his story is and whatnot. But Shutter Island, I mean, even though I didn't love it my first time watching it, is amazing looking. Like, it's a Scorsese movie and it's incredible, and I'm going to rewatch it. I mean, you figure it out early on what's going on. I think I knew from the preview, but nonetheless, it's still Scorsese, like, just elevating everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard. I mean, the movie's not great exactly, but I mean, there's plenty to love about it because it's still a Scorsese movie.
I mean, I think it's in the same way, the original Joker, everyone thinks king of comedy, right? And then that was a movie that was so far ahead of its time and got like reclaimed. I think Shutter Island is getting to that point.
I think you're right.
And I think it's because of what you said. Everybody knew the twist from the trailer. So like people just ignored it, and you know what I mean? I didn't see it till it had been out for like 3 years because I was like, I get it. But then when I saw the movie, like you said, the experience is what makes that movie.
Well, Todd Phillips is not going to go down as one of the great provocateur filmmakers, but I think he wants to be. And so I was thinking of people like Harmony Korine and stuff that he's doing recently, like Aggro Drift that came out at the end of last year, beginning of this year. Right now, it's not even out yet, but Baby Invasion, where he AI replaces killers' heads with babies. Just all this crazy shit. But I think just the idea of trying to play with audience expectations and almost like dare them to walk out. Like you don't like this movie? I do not care one bit. I don't think Todd Phillips has that in him, but he's certainly trying. I know Joe is a big fan of the Harmony Korine stuff. What about you guys?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
I love Todd Phillips for the most part too. Like I up until Joker or War Dogs really. I liked the Hangover sequels. Like, I thought they were cool. Like,
yeah.
And at least visually interesting. You know what I mean?
I think that's fair.
And he subverted the first Hangover. Like my whole beef with the first Hangover was that's a bro fantasy. Like every bro wants to wake up in a trash Vegas penthouse, and you married the hot stripper, and you stole a cop car, and you know what I mean? Like that's like a fantasy. The second one, they wake up in like a shitty Bangkok hotel with a severed finger. Their buddy dies. Nobody wants that to happen to them. So that inherently is funnier to me.
But if you don't know Joe, this is classic Joe, where like if everyone says something is good and someone says something is bad, he's like, the bad one's the good one.
I saw Hangover 2 before it came out, and to your credit, I saw it like a week before it came out at an early screening. I went, fuck. I loved this, and I know everyone's going to hate this movie. I really did. I did say that to that one. That's funny.
That's awesome. Joe, let's go for one more.
This isn't a movie, but like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Oh, God.
Like, the acting was better in this than the acting in that, but it was, the sensationalism of like, honestly, I was in a very fortunate place. I was doing a job at the time where my job is just to sit in this office, and if somebody came in and had a problem with production, they told me and I called my boss. That was the whole job. Never happened. So I ended up watching the entire Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial from start to finish, and it was riveting. It was really exciting, and and interesting. And I feel like this movie's kind of like milking on like the like broadcasting the trial to everybody and like what it's inspiring in people out in the streets. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you got like the OJ trial did the same thing. And I mean,
Sure.
there's been, but this is about celebrity in
Sure.
a way, and I think that this one is too. And I know that this is so nitpicky, but like the scene where Gary Puddles,
Yeah.
where here's the thing. First of all, that they would let him represent himself. Sure, okay. And I'll even buy in movie land that they'll let him wear his Joker makeup, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's saying it as he's walking around. He's like, then you can play that I murder 5 people. And he's like leaning next to the jury and he's getting right in Gary's face. Like in real trial, you don't allow anybody to get near the witness.
Yeah.
Movies love to do that because what are you going to do otherwise? But like, it just took me totally out of it that he's sitting there like the guy who like murdered somebody right in front of him who's like, this guy's terrified, that he's just like leaning in and getting to talk to this guy and shit like that. It's like that took me right out of it. You know
I
what
think
mean?
they were trying to do more of that is any of this real thing from the first one, but I don't know.
Cop out. Not you, that.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a cop out.
So if you ever listen to our podcast, Awesome Movie Year, I hate like when something is illogical in a film, unless you're watching something like a David Lynch movie, but that's his own logic that works, right? But if you see something and you're like, wait a second, there's no way that could happen because X, Y, and Z, that always takes me out of it. And for me in this one, it was the car bomb, because we've seen 100 shots of 1,000 people outside the courthouse, right? And I get that the car bomb happened, but where were all those cops and all the people right afterwards who were on the other side of the building? Like, they were nowhere to be found. And it wasn't like car bomb and then just went out. It was like car bomb, I'm on the floor, I'm on the floor, I'm on the floor. Now I'm getting up and now I'm walking out. And there's still no one there around me except the 2 other Joker guys.
I will say, just to that point in that scene, I really loved that getaway with the 2 other Joker guys. Like, that whole sequence I thought was one of the best parts of this movie. But you're right about all that.
It reminded me of the opening to Terminator Genesis. McGee did the same thing
don't
with
even
John
remember
Connor getting
that.
out of the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the liar trial is more realistic than the trial. of this
I did
movie.
think
I'm
about
just saying
liar,
that.
liar.
Like, it really
I
is.
can't lie.
Yeah, but also, how did he?
in contempt.
But how did he survive? Also, he was the only person in the courthouse who walked up, and he was right by the wall when it blew up as well. So that didn't really make sense.
And Harvey
He's a
Dent's like
superhero.
laying there, and I guess it's supposed to be that's how he became Two-Face.
Right.
And I'm also, the whole movie, I'm thinking, like, isn't the idea of Two-Face being 2 people, isn't that inherently Two-Face's, like, dilemma? And, like, the beauty of the Joker of a character is that he is just the Joker? Like, so, I don't know, man. Have your cake and eat it, too.
That is a
Who
very-
played this Harvey
yeah.
Dent? Who was the actor?
I don't know.
It made me miss Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, Aaron Eckhart, where is he? Yeah, I don't know. But Tyler, one more.
Okay, so this movie, it's called Bones and All. So it's a movie about 2 cannibals who fall in love. So it reminded me of this movie because it's like 2 outcasts who are finding love with each other and finding like solitude together, and they just like are able to relate with each other.
Absolutely. Bones and All is fantastic. I was also thinking about that one. I'm glad you brought it up because I didn't end up putting it on my list. But yeah, absolutely. That kind of works in really well with the idea of outcasts finding each other. And that movie, if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's great, but it goes in very different directions. So, yeah.
Should have gotten David Gordon Green to play Harvey Dent.
Oh, there you go. That would be good. Jason, one more.
All right, so I wish I would have watched this movie. You're talking about New York City and media hype and how the quote-unquote bad guy gets you to root for him and the scuzziness of a city. I don't think there's a better version of it. I mean, you could go one and 1A. I put Dog Day to Afternoon down as mine, which is like one of the all-time great Pacino Lumet performance, and and you realize why they're rooting for him in that one. That's
Sure.
the whole thing with the first Joker, as opposed to this one. I also think you could Taxi Driver it if you wanted to, but I know a lot of people have made those comparisons, so I'm going to stick with Dog Day Afternoon here. Which, if who hasn't seen that? Has anyone not seen that? That's your homework tonight.
Absolutely.
So.
And you watch the other Lumet movie that this rips off, Find Me Guilty, where Vin Diesel represents himself in court.
Start with Dog Day Afternoon.
I won't get into Find Me Guilty is the only Lumet movie I like.
That's insane.
I know. Network sucks.
Absolutely wild.
Network's a 5-star movie. What are you talking about?
Maybe when I was 6. I don't know.
Sure,
I'm just
Network.
kidding.
It's great, right?
I'm Team Broadcast News.
It's all right.
Also,
but
also great.
The coda at the end is never mind. Film nerds doing film nerd stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dog Day Afternoon, though, great one to include. And also, again, like we're saying, like he's so clearly trying to do the Scorsese thing with these movies, and so why not bring in LeMay in this as well? So, yeah, great one. I want to open it up to the floor, see if we have any puzzle pieces out there to talk about. And I know my mom's been waiting the whole damn time, so Mom, you're first.
This is for Jason.
Thank you.
Yes, because I spoke to him today and I said, I really, really hope they go all riffraff and magenta on the people, and it never even came close to that. And next year is the 50-year anniversary.
Tell us what the name of that movie is.
Oh, could you say Rocky Horror Picture?
The Rocky Horror Picture.
She said it because we saw a midnight
We saw it
screening.
last-
Me and
last
Sonny, we went on a
summer,
hot
the
date
three of us
together, and it was.
And the other thing is the wedding scene. That was a little bit of bullshit, but it kind of reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors.
Hell yeah.
With three chicks singing off to the side. It was just so like phony or whatever.
I was pitching
Yeah.
when I first moved out to LA. I was trying to pitch people that they should do a Little Shop of Horrors remake. This is in 2012 with Lady Gaga playing Audrey and Audrey 2.
Oh my.
Like she could have done both. And
She would have killed it,
Yeah,
too.
wouldn't that have been
I
dope?
took him to it. I think I took him to that twice. Once in the Village
Mhm.
and once in the live.
Absolutely.
I think.
did recently.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, that was.
But you're
Jason.
on Little Shop. Like so cool because it leans into the artificiality of it, right? And here they're like
It was-
splitting the difference, and I
There's
think
the-
that's
yeah.
where we're all saying like, where's the commitment to whatever it is you're
Yeah,
going for?
we just
Yeah.
watched. She's right. We just went a few months ago to the Palms.
Broadway in the Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great performance of Little Shop of Horrors.
Boy.
Well, and to what you're saying about what's cool about Little Shop of Horrors is that it leans into that. But
Yeah.
the movie, the performances are so authentic and sincere in that movie that they couldn't do the silly ending of the play where everybody dies because we care too much at that point. It would have been kind of a letdown or a cop-out for them to just die because they turned it from pastiche satire into like this really deeply felt pastiche, which was exciting and cool.
Did you see the one from like the 1940s?
Of course.
The one-
62.
60s, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the stuff of legend.
Jack
Well,
Nicholson.
Mom, you gave us some great puzzle pieces, so good job this time around. It doesn't always work that way. Other pieces from the crowd. We got one right there.
One flew over the cuckoo.
Yeah, that's on my.
I was thinking about that too. Very good. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Absolutely, as far as the treatment of the inmates here and all that stuff going on. So.
Definitely, especially with the drugs and take your medication and watching they go that.
Yep.
We missed out on a Brad Dourif Joker. Like that would have been something else. You know what I mean? That would have been cool.
That would be awesome. Absolutely.
Oh wait, and Jack Nicholson. What?
Yeah, of
He
course.
was the fucking Joker.
Yeah.
Oh god.
How could you forget? Other puzzle. We got one right here.
Since everybody's talking about Scorsese, of course the judge looked a little like him.
Oh wow.
The judge resembled him. But my puzzle piece is all the jail stuff was really Shawshank Redemption-y.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when they went to the scene where they were abusing him, were they raping him there?
I was
That's
wondering
what I
that.
got from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to take off his pants and
And if
his.
so, it could have really, like without having to see a lot, could have really given a lot more from that. So I
Yeah.
was wondering why they included that and then they didn't,
Again, that goes to the kind of half stepping of this
Yeah.
movie overall. But
a little pinch.
yeah.
So you're saying you want more rape?
Well,
A lot more.
it just came out of nowhere. That was like his friend, and like also like it was never mentioned. I don't know. It just was very vague and just put in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think Shawshank is a great one, though. That's something I was thinking about. I was also thinking, I haven't seen it yet, so I obviously not a puzzle piece here, but Sing Sing, the movie that like just came out as far as like,
Because of the theater.
yeah, learning to like connect with other people through theater in prison. So, and we talked about Shawshank as a possible influence on that.
Well,
so.
and I would say that Chicago, the movie Chicago,
Yeah, that's on my
is
list.
really good at doing what we've been talking about, where it's like you go from the reality into like the kind of like, pastiche kind of thing. Like they pulled that off really well in that movie, and but that one is so percussive, like it never stops. This movie never starts.
there you go.
I slept through the first hour of it tonight. I really
Oh,
did.
boy.
I saw it earlier this week, but like I did.
It was just awful.
Mom thinks it was awful. We got one right here.
It's really not a piece, but at the very end, where that character inmate stabs
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fleck,
Yeah.
then it kind of went off to the side where you could just see the backside of him, and he looks like he was cutting his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
I was wondering about
He
that
is the
too.
Joker.
So that's
Yeah.
right.
I was wondering that too because we have a history of revealing other characters as little Easter eggs and things like that. Were they trying to kind of hint at somebody from within the DC universe? I don't really know. We got a hand right there. Maybe he knows.
There was lyrics going on saying like I can't remember the lyrics, but it was saying like the next person. It was innuendo.
It was in the song.
Like the next Joker's coming, or I
Oh,
wish I
God.
could remember the lyrics, but it caught me while I was seeing the same thing he was, him making
Yeah.
a smile on his face with the knife.
So
Yeah.
that's supposed to be
Yeah,
Heath
and-
Ledger's
and-
Joker. Now we
That's
know.
what I
That's
think
what-
so. Yeah, like
Interesting.
She had her.
Hand up right up there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say was like, I think he was alluding to Heath Ledger because he says in his movie, you can ask me how I got these scars.
So that would mean then that Heath Ledger in that movie is like in his 40s, right? Because this is 86. It's 5 years after the first one. The first one was 81. So
How can you remember this stuff?
It's just super film nerd. Like, does the timeline line up?
well,
That is
also
important
before-
info. It's great.
I don't know. I mean-
yeah.
Well, also before the
Back to
character that was
AI.
the character in the end who stabbed him, was he laughing before he got choked out the night before because the guard had choked him? Is that correct? Or
That was a different.
that was a different. Okay, I was confused at that part. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still up there.
Another one up there.
But I was gonna also add to it, if you guys have seen Sucker Punch, like there was a lot of similarities with the being in one place, having a fantasy, and like what is a fantasy or is a reality, in the asylum and everything.
Absolutely. So Sucker Punch, for anyone who couldn't hear, was the piece. And of course, we're going to talk Zack Snyder. We've got Batman v Superman to bring up here. But yeah, Sucker Punch is a great one as far as an asylum. I mean, another movie that is very clearly inspired by One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which we brought up already. And as far as that whole fantasy aspect, like you're talking about, I think it's a great one to put on the list here. So definitely. I think we have one right back there.
So all the jail stuff like One Flew, Green Mile, Shawshank, but there was like
Ernest goes to jail.
Sure.
Oh, we saw
I don't know, there was a part in there that reminded me of a movie called Fallen with Denzel and
I haven't seen that since it came out.
Yeah.
Fallen.
Fallen, and with all the singing of the dialogue, I put Elvis.
Okay.
He sang all his dialogue, and for the bosom buddy or back and forth guy girl, Bad Santa.
Very
Well, Fallen
nice.
is about they sing to acknowledge who the bad guy is in that movie too. I forget the song. What was I can't remember what it was, but
I got
that
time on my
yeah,
mind.
got time.
Interesting.
Time on
I'm gonna
my
have to.
side, I think.
I'm gonna have to rewatch.
Rolling
I remember
Stones.
liking that when it came out.
Yeah.
But God, that was that 98 or something,
Yeah, an
97.
equally unsatisfying ending as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
Same thing with Sucker Punch.
Yeah. Fair. Any other? We got one right here.
I just have a couple. So the courtroom stuff, my cousin Vinny,
Hell yeah.
obviously like a goofy guy, and
He said my cousin Vinny. Yes.
brightly colored
Best movie ever.
suits into the courtroom. So I was like, and I love how they did the different colored suits. That was great. But I'll also say Dateline, not a movie, but the show Dateline.
Okay.
NBC, when he's interviewing him.
Sure. Absolutely, because I mean, this is. I think we were talking about some of that like kind of real crime, true crime kind of stuff at one point, and like that kind of fits right in there with like those kind of shows interviewing a killer, and it's salacious and
Well, with that, I had put Sonny and Cher down, which is not about Dateline, but like they really leaned into those old variety shows. But how many of you guys saw Late Night with the Devil this year?
this year,
I
yeah.
saw it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they did a way better job of like utilizing the form of what they were going after than what this one did. This still looked like a very fancy film as opposed to like Late Night with the Devil looked like a 70s late night talk show to me.
Late Night with the Devil there was a movie, I can't remember the name of it, that I saw with Bette Midler's daughter in it that came out like 2 years ago. The Late Night with the Devil is essentially a complete ripoff of, but she was the lead in this movie. And I remember that one being a lot more authentic. But I think he actually just cracked it. I think that the suit in My Cousin Vinny, like that he has to wear, the costume suit, I guarantee that's why they made this movie. That Todd Phillips saw that and was like, I know we're
Two
going to use
Utes.
the fucking Joker.
There's no two Utes in there.
I think he's absolutely right, though.
It's a funny voice though, so it goes with two youths.
You're
So
right.
yeah.
I'm going to find out the name of the Bette
Absolutely.
Midler's daughter.
You were
We
just
got another
talking-
one up there.
Oh, shit.
I think Devil's Advocate, when Keanu Reeves was interrogating, I think that's who Joaquin was channeling. That's what the voice sounded like, that southern draw, and I don't know, it just sounded like him.
Could very well be. Absolutely. I mean, that was like such a like funny, ridiculous performance, and I mean, it draws again like a lot of this stuff on like a love of like old school movies, and so I think that fits.
You're making
really
me
well.
sad that that's considered old school.
I mean, at this point, it kind of is.
Baxter, you're talking about like how they were trying to make it seem like more like old film being shot. But I think maybe that's why they had like the grungy look on the film. Like they were just trying to make it like how he was saying, like they had like a whole like grunge look to it. Just looked unpolished and boogery, like you said. Yeah.
To me, it looked more pristine than that. I wish they would have leaned in way further to like dirtying it up.
To do that, you have to actually like do it on the day. You can't do that with color. You know what I mean? Like then that's the problem. Like they just did it with color. I think it's Tarantino who threw Roger Deakins under the bus. You know, he's like he likes shooting digital because he doesn't want to put in the work, and that's the same thing here. I was actually thinking when that bomb goes off, I was thinking this is a $200 million movie. That bomb looks like shit, like that fake CGI smoke, masking it all in gray.
Styrofoam.
Yeah, it was really a bummer. You know, you think about Children of Men. The opening to Children of Men when he walks out of that
incredible.
house and the bomb goes off behind him. That's scary shit. You know, and that movie was made for what, like 20?
Right.
Usually, when you have to use practical effects, it always works out better than when you can rely on not using them, right? Like when you covered Fellini's Satyricon, which I did not like. Dave loved it, but like the actual look of it is amazing with all that stuff because it's real world stuff.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into some closing thoughts. Joe, let's go with you first. Anything we didn't quite get to you want to mention here?
No, I mean, why talk about this movie anymore? It sucks.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, but Lady Gaga, give her the Oscar. She's earned it 3 times in a row, as far as I'm concerned. I thought she was terrific in this.
She's fine, but it's not an Oscar performance.
It's not an Oscar movie. It's not an Oscar-worthy part, I guess. But but it is actually kind of interesting seeing the two of them in a scene together because Joaquin Phoenix is the kind of actor who is showing you all the time what he's thinking. Normally I say that as a criticism, but he's great at it. You know what I mean? He's always, you see the machinations in his head. Lady Gaga is the opposite where like she's not letting you in, and that's like magnetic. Like you're drawn into her thinking, what the fuck is she thinking?
Sure.
So the two of them in a scene together is actually super exciting. I hope they get to do another movie together. That'd be dope.
Well, I mean, that's also why I think, even though it was weird, the idea of a new Harley Quinn, I think that as soon as we all heard it was Lady Gaga, we're like, oh, yeah, okay, sure.
We're all going.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tyler, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I wish they would have showed a little bit more of Harley Quinn's side and like her point of view because Lady Gaga's actually making an album based off this character, so I thought she was going to be so powerful, and like I didn't buy it really. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think she's great in this, but she just doesn't get enough.
The movie from her perspective would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they were kissing and the guard yelled no touching, I was just all over Arrested Development in my mind. So,
Jason, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think we could bury superhero movies for the next 10 years, and I'd be okay with that. I keep coming. I always say I had superhero fatigue before that was a term, and I don't think it's gotten any better. Like Guardians 3 I liked, but since other than that, I couldn't tell you the last good superhero movie of any type. I'm over it, and this was not a fix. So
This didn't win you back in any way.
We need a Blank Man Lego sequel.
Oh,
we don't.
You don't like Blank Man?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. But,
The gritty, dark reboot of Blank Man, the Chris Nolan Blank Man.
Damon Wayans, right?
That's right, Mom. Damon Wayans.
No, if they had taken Blank Man and did it like Rudy Ray Moore style, I would be down with that and everything.
Yeah, that would be a great movie. Absolutely.
Like, man, they got to do Meteor Man too.
Hell
yeah, let's do Meteor Man.
And Mystery Men.
Do those movies have villains worth making origin stories of?
What, Mystery Man? Well,
Any of those
Bill Cosby gets a magic rock in Meteor Man that allows him to do whatever he wants telepathically.
Whose drink does he put it in?
Yeah.
Wasn't Paul Rubens in Mystery Man?
Yeah,
he was. That
Ben
might be the
Stiller
best
and
superhero
Kel.
movie.
Yeah.
Keenan and Kel.
Amazing. Joe, tell people where they can find you and your films and everything.
Blue Means Pregnant Films is the name of my company. You can find us on Facebook, and we have a website that we're updating. I haven't touched that website in a long time. It still says our newest film, Natasha Hall, which was 3 years ago. And we just completed a new film. It's called I Don't Know, and it's starting its festival run in a couple weeks here. We're at the Treasure Coast International Film Festival in Florida. We're nominated for Best Picture. I'm very excited about that. And
Amazing.
I just screened it for the cast and crew last night, and they didn't hate it, which is always nice when you make a movie for $27,000, like when people don't hate it. And I screened it for David today, and I think that went over well too. I'm very excited about this one. So
yeah,
keep an
everybody
eye out.
look out for that. It's genuinely Joe's best movie he's made so far, at least that I've seen. I've seen, I think, about 6 of your 20 some. How many movies have you made?
I've made 16 movies.
Okay, yeah. So I've seen about 6 of them.
You're
and this
so
is
in
the
love with
best.
Kevin Smith, you had to make your movie for $27,000.
Well, what's funny is when Clerks 3, and Randall's like, I think it's going to cost us $27,000 to make this movie. I was like, dude, it's 2022. Like no, this is going to cost you $8 to make this movie. Like, fuck. But and you can also find our film Natasha Hall and Suffrage. Those are on Amazon right now. Suffrage, actually, just in time for the election. I made that movie a couple years ago, and if you see it, it's on Amazon too. Suffrage. It's kind of creepy how accurate some of our predictions were for the upcoming election. Like,
I think that's true.
almost suspicious. So. Kind of. I mean, you know, like sign me up.
Tyler, tell us where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Letterboxd at Sin City Slime. Yes, watch a lot of movies.
Nice.
Yep.
Right on. Jason, how about you?
So I do a thing called Eat This Comedy. I hope you guys come out to it. I team up with restaurants. We curate a special menu. You get a multi-course meal for ticket price, and I come do comedy in the dining room. Next one's at Rebellion Pizza on October 13th. So you can find me at Eat This Comedy or at Jason Harris Comedy on all the socials. And I do Awesome Movie Year. That's my podcast that
your
Dave
podcast.
produces.
Yeah, I sure do.
So yeah, those are things.
There you go. Lots of stuff to check out. We will be back here at Maya Cinemas in November for Gladiator 2. And we will be at Downtown Cinemas. Downtown Cinemas next Saturday, October 12th for Terrifier 3. So if you like killer clowns, you got another chance to see more of that.
And Dan Roebuck is in that. He's in Terrifier. He was in our newest movie, I Don't Know, and he's in Suffrage. Again, check that out before the election.
Comes back as a Joker in that too.
He sure does. Absolutely. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. That's our show.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Joker, Folie à Deux. Thank you so much to Maya Cinemas for having us out. Thank you so much to Joe Black, Jason Harris, and Tyler Tutt for joining me on that one. And thank you to the audience who was there at the show. And of course, thank you to you for listening at home. If you're enjoying piecing it together, make sure you are subscribed wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. You can also leave a 5-star rating and review if you want to help support the show. It makes sure that more people will see what we're doing. And as the show continues to grow, we'll get to do all kinds of fun new things. So go ahead and do that. You could also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. And don't forget, we do have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, Awesome Movie Year, and my music career. Also, there's a video version of this episode up on the Patreon, so you can actually watch us talk about the movie. And I do video versions of some episodes on the Patreon as well. So check that out. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Thank you so much for your support just listening to the show. But if you want to support the show that way, it is very much appreciated as well. So I'm going to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And this month, I will be launching the pre-order for my 3rd album of songs about my pets. The Pup Pups is the name of the group. I can't believe I'm up to a 3rd album at this point. I'm going to play a little preview of a song from that album today. This album, we got Joker with the whole kind of twisted, that whole kind of attitude thing going on. So I'm going to go with a song called Bite, which is from the Pup Pups album, which definitely has like a kind of new metal sound to it. So I thought this would be a good fit here. So let's play Bite from the third The Pup Pups album, which you'll be hearing a lot more about very soon. And we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
Wonderful. This is everything. I love this so much. This is perfect. I'm with my dad. I love this so much. So comfy. So is mommy. I love this so much. This is all I want. I am so happy. I love this so much.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.
In the middle, I'm sure.
Oh, you know who I like better than him now, anyway, for life? Billy Crudup. He is his twin. Brothers.
Billy Crudup, famous Joker.
Jesus' son?
Watchmen.
Yes, we remember
He did
Billy
that
Crudup.
horrible, wonderful movie.
Jack.
The boys are raped. The four boys are raped.
Sleepers.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Fantastic. I watched that
Jason
10 times.
Patrick?
As upset over
I
this.
say Sleepers movie.
Yeah.
Not talking.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, you know what we do got? Well, we got a little bit of toy solo.
All right, everybody, I got to give you one last reminder that this week only, if you get your pre-orders in for the new The Pup Pups album, A Boy and His Dog and Three Cats and a Bear, you can get your pet's name included on the special bonus super extended track that's going to finish off the album. So check it out at thepuppups.bandcamp.com, where you can get the album on vinyl as well as a digital download. Get your orders in now and you'll get your pet's name included.